Do you feel like something is missing in your marriage? Do you feel disconnected or wish you could go back to the beginning? Dr. Ray and Jean, relationship experts and hosts of the podcast Couples Synergy, Real Couples, Real Stories, bring you a couples retreat like no other. At the Couples Synergy Weekend Intensive, you will create the relationship you've always dreamed of with the partner you fell in love with. April 20th through the 23rd at the Lodge at Needle Rock. Limited spots available. Contact them today at couplessynergy.com.
Take a girl and a guy, and they fall madly in love and form a family. Sprinkle in some counseling degrees and a doctorate, a dream of transforming relationships as we know it. And 20 years later, we give you power couple Dr. Ray and Jean Kadkodian. And this is their podcast, Couples Synergy.
Welcome back to another episode of Couples Synergy with Dr. Ray and Jean. Hi, I am Dr. Ray.
And I'm Jean, and this is our podcast about love, marriage, and relationships.
Please check us out online at couplesynergy.com or on Facebook and Instagram at Couples Synergy. And please subscribe to our podcast, leave us a review, or send us any suggestions on topics you'd like to hear more about. And now on to Couples Synergy, an in-depth look at love, marriage, and relationships, where we bring you our experience helping thousands of couples transform their relationships for over 20 years.
You know, everyone says you should work on your relationship, but nobody teaches us how. So we've created this podcast to teach people what they can do to create the relationship they've always dreamed of
with the partner they fell in love with. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about spending time together in an environment that is conducive for nurturing, rebuilding, repairing, and healing your relationship.
Not a lot of places like that in this world.
No. You
There's
actually
a lot more
have
places to tear it down.
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. And this is a very common problem for a lot of couples. Mm-hmm. They do not spend enough time together. We preach about this a lot. And we're not talking about just going to the movies or something like that. You know, what we're talking about is time spent together where you are working on your relationship, building the friendship, nurturing each other.
Falling in love again. Everyone talks about wanting to feel like they felt in the beginning. Well, think about what you were doing in the beginning.
Yeah, spending a lot of time. Having fun.
Having fun, sharing
doing
stories.
New things.
Yep. Dreaming together.
New experiences. Mm-hmm. I mean, this time and time again, every couple that we work with, that is one of the number one issues that they struggle with. And, you know, with good reason. A lot of them have kids, and so they try to combine couple time with family time. You know, we're going to go with the kids on a trip together. Well, that's great for your family. That's great for nurturing the bonds with your kids, but it does not nurture the bond between you and your partner.
Think about these questions. Do you have a little anxiety if you think about being alone with your partner? Because you're out of practice?
Right.
Or maybe get in a fight whenever you spend time together? Or you don't know what to do and it's kind of boring? Do you prefer to have your life very busy? Whether you're including friends, family, work, whatever it is, do you prefer that because it's much more predictable and you know how to do that? It feels good. Working on your relationship is incredible if you learn how to do it.
Well, if you just do it.
Yeah.
You just put some time and energy and investment in it. And, you know, one of the things that we have created for couples to really invest in their relationship in a meaningful way is our Couples Weekend Intensive.
That's exactly why we created it. We created it because, you know, when people work with us in our couple program, they're meeting with us an hour a week. They're spending a couple other hours in the home study course, and then they go right back into their lives. kids, work, everything. And so they sit there, they learn something, they get a taste of it, they feel better, and then boom, back into their lives. And what we found when we started doing the weekend intensives, people get a break from all that. They get a really deep connection from spending that kind of time together, especially in the way that we're helping them have conversations they didn't even know they needed to have, plus the experiences. And you can't fall in love if you're not having fun. It's a blast.
I think that's a really good point to bring up, and that is that our couples retreat is fun.
Yeah.
I think that is something that's really scary for a lot of couples, and that's a question that we get a lot, is, am I going to have to, share with the group about my experience or about what, me and my spouse are struggling with? And the answer is no.
If you've heard us talk about the inner sanctum, the only one that belongs in the inner sanctum is you, your spouse, and your spirituality. And that's what we're creating and helping you build the foundation and the exterior of the inner sanctum, so that when you leave the weekend, you have a place to return to when you get home to continue to work on your relationship. And so there's no reason to share with other couples.
No, this is something between the two of you.
Right.
And so learning the skills, practicing and applying those skills in the privacy of your own room, or different parts of the lodge where we're going to be holding the next one, that gives you an opportunity to really build that intimacy and the bond between the two of you. And it's a private thing, which is one of the reasons why we chose this upcoming venue and previous venues, is that the environment creates this ambiance of sacredness.
Yeah.
So that you don't, we don't hold it in a hotel.
No.
In a banquet room in a hotel, and you come out of there and now you're faced with all the other strangers that are in the lobby and everything. That is not conducive to getting to that depth and creating the sacredness of that bond together, so that the two of you can flourish and really connect and feel free and safe to do so.
The other part we know is very important is to be in nature. And if you look around your life, you will see a lot of man-made things. Lots of buildings and cars and streets and shops and all sorts of man-made things that want you to, only interact in that way. And this is being held in a place where you're surrounded by mountains. You are surrounded by nature. And that alone is very healing for us. That is the pace of a human being, to be in nature, to hear the sound of the wind, to hear the insects. All that is very healing as well. That giving your nervous system a break from the sounds and the movement of technology and things that move faster than we move. And you'd be surprised at how incredible that alone is. And again, that's what vacation is for. That's what retreats are about. And there is not a lot of opportunity for couples to go somewhere where their relationship is not only supported, but they learn how to feed and grow it.
When I'm explaining it to our clients, they get it when I talk about company retreats. Those that work for a company, they go on retreat somewhere. And it's out of the building, it's out of the place where you work, so that it gives you an opportunity to have a fresh perspective. It is a way for the company to reconnect with each other, to be able to re-energize everyone, to get refocused on what the goal is. And to get everyone on the same page to move in that same direction, it makes sense.
Yeah, because when you do the same thing every day, you sit in the same seat at the same computer and talk to the same people, you get stuck in a rut. And we all do that. And we prefer our ruts.
Yeah. Yeah.
We like predictability. We like to know what's going to happen. And this is why companies spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to take their people outside of that environment to shake things up so that they come back fresh with a new perspective and with a different set of eyes on the work that they're doing. And that's exactly what this retreat does, but for your relationship. And we've always kind of gotten this idea that relationships just sort of happen and take care of themselves. But there's nothing in this world like that. Like if you just sat around and didn't do anything for your body, it would fall apart and die.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you didn't take care of your house, it would crumble around you. If you didn't work on your career, you would be left behind. You know, if you weren't continuing to learn and grow at work, you'd get fired. But somehow we think we can put our relationship on the back burner and it's going to be okay. And it isn't. And the really sad thing about that is it's the best thing you can do for your physical health, your mental health, your emotional wellness, your kids. There's so many benefits to having a relationship that you feel really connected in, that you feel safe in, that you feel certainty in. It is the most important thing we have as human beings.
You know, time and time again, we see couples who are in love with each other and they're just in such a bad way.
Yeah.
That it's just so sad to see. And they got there because of that lack of attention to their relationship. Everything else became more of a priority. And you look at the surprise in their eyes when you say, if you spent the same amount of time and energy on your job as you do on your relationship, what do you think you would be at in your job?
Yeah, everyone's like, I'd be fired.
You'd be fired, right? And yet, you know, that's what they see as more of a priority.
Mm-hmm.
And many of them, they just get comfortable in that chaos and that lack of attention.
I think there's an acceptance of mediocrity in your relationship because you just don't know how. And you've just learned to accept it because you're not really sure what to do. And nothing terrible is happening. Except you feel slighted all the time. You feel like your partner's got priorities way more important than you. And you do the same thing to them. And you get kind of just stuck like that. And it's painful. It's painful to, oh, well, the kids need something. Oh, you know, your work is calling again, or whatever else we distract ourselves with. And there's a level of pain to that I think we just tolerate. We think it's acceptable. And we don't know when to turn it off, the rest of the world, and we don't know where to put our relationship in a place of priority. Because by the time we get around to it, we're exhausted.
And there's a lot of things to get exhausted about in this world. There's definitely a lot of things that demand our attention, you know, besides our jobs, besides our kids, besides extended family. You know, if we are not actively putting that attention towards our relationship, then the rest of the world will take that. And you will have nothing left to give.
I have never walked through a cemetery and seen on any headstone, this person worked 90 billion hours in their lifetime, or made $100 million, or have 10,000 followers on Instagram. None of that's going to be at your funeral. No one's going to care about that. It only says, beloved son, beloved husband, beloved father or mother. And, you know, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, boy, we could really use this, can you imagine what it would be like if your partner said yes? That in and of itself, if your partner would say to you, I want more too. I want to work on this and I want to work on it with you. That's huge. It's huge. And what is it in the other direction if they say no? That rejection?
Oh,
okay, we're both unhappy and we don't want to work on it?
Yeah, that's painful.
Yeah. Which I think is why people don't go there. They don't ask.
Sure. Why would you want to risk that? You know, and so you're caught between two places there. And it's like, do I risk it or do I just accept mediocrity?
And for the most part, it's typically the woman asking to work on it. And it's typically the guy that says, I don't really think we need to. I don't think there's a problem. And then if it is a problem, she'll get to a point eventually she'll leave. And we see these guys in the rest of their lives, they're so heartbroken. And in the middle of it, they won't change. They won't do anything. Won't work on it. And then when it's over, they just have such regret for so long.
Yeah.
And it's so sad. It doesn't need to be that way. I don't know how to teach people or tell people or even describe to people why this is such an incredible thing to do and so important in your life. It's like you have to experience it to really get it.
And in order to do that, you have to take a risk. And anything worth doing in this life takes risk.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It is, it's what we live for, really.
Yeah, what's the point of being alive if you're not stretching yourself and growing and becoming? And, you know, in all fairness, I think relationships have gotten caught up in the world in the same way everything else has. And it just moves so much faster. And people's relationships today do not look like their parents' relationships. And our parents' relationships looked somewhat like our grandparents' relationships. But our grandparents' relationships looks like lots of history, lots of ancestors. And now it's new and it's harder. And I think you see this in all avenues. You know, when I was a kid, we didn't go to a sporting event in Florida. You know, now all the kids are like, oh, wait, cheerleading competition's in Florida, or my band is going to Texas, or, you know, these big opportunities. And these kids have a lot of coaching and a lot of support and a lot of training around whatever activity they're in. And people spend a lot of money on that kind of stuff. And yet still, they don't know how to be in relationships. And we don't do such a great job of teaching that. And the world has changed so much. And so we know it's important because we had to learn it ourselves.
There's definitely a lot more on people's plates today than before.
Yeah.
And the world moves a lot faster than before. And so it's no surprise that people are filled with anxiety. People are filled with worry. People are depressed. You know, people have high blood pressure. People are just not happy in their lives because there's just so much to do.
All the time.
And they don't know how to stop. They don't know how to take a pause and a break and recharge. They just want to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And when you go on a couples retreat, you know, like our weekend intensive, it forces you to take a pause. It forces you to slow down and really look at what's really important in your life. Because, you know, paying the bills, yeah, important. Making money to sustain your family, yes, important. But at what cost? And if you're not able to find that balance and put your relationship as a priority and nurture it, then all of that work, everything that you put your effort into is really going to be for nothing.
You know, we just got back from our 25th wedding anniversary vacation. And you know how vacations go, you have to clean the house, get packed, get ready, get on a plane, drive somewhere, and then you get there and you're like, we're here and we've got nothing to do and it's wonderful. And it's usually in a beautiful place. I don't think people vacation ugly places, right? That'd be kind of silly. Not. And there's like nothing to do, but the energy around you feels awesome. That's why people are drawn to go to listen to the shore, the ocean or big lakes or rivers, or go to the mountains or somewhere where it's awe-inspiring and you can feel how good that feels. And from there, there's nothing left to do but go explore and have fun. And, you know, what are we going to do today? What do we want to see? What are we going to check out? Because we don't know anything about this area because we're not from here. And this is exactly what the weekend is for your relationship. And that's the energy we wanted it to hold. This, first of all, the deep sigh, like, oh, we're here and we can just let go of everything. We can forget about the bills and the kids and the problems in life and work, and none of that matters right now. Just me and you. Just me and you healing in this beautiful place. That's all that matters right now. And then we get to explore and have a good time. You know, we build in so many fun things so that people leave here feeling awesome. That's what we want. And connected. And we have the amount of time that we need to help you get there so that when you go back, you will miss it if you lose it, and you'll work on your relationship outside of the weekend because, one, you'll know how, and two, you'll really miss each other once you find that connection again.
And that's what we've been hearing too from past participants, is that they reach this level and they know, you know, when they start to come off of that, you know, come out of that place, and, you know, they know how to get back to status quo. And that is really what our goal is. I mean, we work with couples individually in our couple-to-couple program for 90 days, and it is really intense work, and it's personalized. But the power of being at our weekend intensive 3.5 days, that is just, we love doing it.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It brings about a lot of great energy for us too. So if any of you out there are on the fence or thinking about it, you know, just reach out. If you go to
we do consultations with anyone that wants to sit down and talk through some stuff with us. So get on our schedule and talk it through and learn about it. It probably is the most important thing you can do in your lifetime.
So we want to thank you for joining us today on Couple Synergy. Our passion is in helping couples and people have happy and healthy relationships, and this podcast gives us a fun way of bringing our knowledge and expertise to you, our listeners. For all of you listening, please let us know how you enjoy the show. If you have any questions, comments, or topic suggestions, please email us at contact@couplesynergy.com for more information about Couple Synergy and our programs such as Relationship 101, the Home Study Course, the Couples Weekend Intensive, which is coming up April 20th to 23rd.
And we hope to see you there.
In Colorado. And also October 12th to the 15th, too. We are also accepting registrations for that weekend as well. Or if you are interested in our premier coaching program with Jean and I called Couple to Couple, look us up online at couplesynergy.com.
And if you know someone who could benefit from this episode, please download it and share it. And thank you for listening.
Until next time, synergize your life and synergize your love.
You have been listening to Couple Synergy with Dr. Ray and Jean Ketkodian. Couple Synergy was recorded, edited, and produced by Dr. Ray and Jean Ketkodian. Voiceover and music entitled Breathe and Let Go was recorded and composed by Gina Gonzalez.